A shot of Baileys.
Season 4.
Do you know any step parent out there? Do you think that they had a smooth transition welcoming the stepchild into her or his life? That's what we will find out as we talk to a step parent in today's discussion. So join me in this conversation with Siena. Hey Sienna, how are you?
Hi, Big. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone who's listening to your podcast. And I'm doing good. Thanks for asking.
That's good to hear. All right, let's get the ball rolling, Shanna. So, of course, I know you because you're the wife of my cousin. But for all those listening and watching us on YouTube, can you tell everyone how you met your husband, Ronch?
Oh, it's an interesting question and an interesting story. We met in our very first company, Bay.
Mm-hmm.
So way back in 2005, and I I was actually Ronchi's trainer at work. So, and Ronchi is my trainee. So, ibig sabihin, estudyante ko siya at teacher niya ako.
Yeah, medyo ano yan medyo hot topic yan, diba? Like, kasi medyo
Yes,
may
yes.
something involved.
We met in 2005, and he's my top student. And
Cool.
little did I know that um, that my husband is listening in right now, and he would deny this, but he admitted it in one of our conversations that he actually had a crush on me back then. Okay, so during that time, he was in a relationship, and I was in a relationship. And it seems it's just that we're just friends
Mhm.
during that period in 2005. And then we parted ways in terms of him proceeding with work and me on my
Right.
work as well. And then we saw each other again in 2013. And before that, thank you to Facebook. I cannot remember who friended who.
Aminin na
But
natin na siya yun. Siya yung
oo,
nakipag-friend sa'yo.
feeling ko ba siya yun eh. Feeling ko siya
Yeah.
yun. Parang inad niya ako as a friend, and then I have accepted. And then during the time, of course, Facebook in 2013 is not that advanced as compared now, right? But
Right.
you would see simple
Yeah.
posts, and through that I found out that he actually has a son.
Mhm.
And then wala lang, feed, and then we saw each other again in 2013.
Okay, so you've mentioned that now you guys met each other again or saw each other again. Same company ulit. Naglipat kayo ng company pero nakita kayo ulit doon. Is that right?
Yes, yes. So it's a different company now, a different BPO company. And then it's not a good influence, the next thing that I'm gonna say, but we saw each other in the smoking lounge. So I was still smoking back then in 2013. I cannot remember who approached who. Pero I remember that the thing in my mind was, uy, it's Ronchi, anak ko.
Mhm.
Because to those that are in the training world, if you're a trainer and then you have trainees, you always think that your trainees are your sons and daughters at work,
Right.
right? So, and then that's where we started reconnecting again. A lot of things have transpired from 2013 to 2014, pero we became much closer when I was assigned to his campaign.
Okay.
And in that campaign, he's the top supervisor.
Max?
So he's ano, parang he was known as he's the Ronchi Galvez of that account.
Yeah.
And when I got in, I was welcomed by him with a very, very welcoming and smiling face. Na parang, uy, she's here.
Yeah.
And then for me, uy, may barkada ako. That's the thing that I'm thinking about. Uy, may barkada ako dito sa account na to. And
Right.
the feels back then in his campaign, it feels like college.
Mhm.
Kasi I finished engineering in UST. Na ang feels doon, konti lang girls. Tapos
I
mostly
see.
guys.
Uh-uh.
So, ganun yung feeling ko dun sa campaign ni Ronchi. Na
Yeah.
parang, uy, barkada ko to, nandito kami, konti lang yung babae. So, ang ka-close ko, mga boys. So,
Mhm.
that's how it started. And then, kahit aminin man niya o hindi, right, tinatakan niya ako sa likod nung time na yun. Tinatakan niya. Akin yan. Ganyan.
Yeah.
And then we became a couple in June 2014. 2014, and that's wherein our lives actually began, accounting not just myself, but also Gab.
Right. So yun, nung time na yun na naging officially kayo na ni Raj, and then you mentioned no, that you saw Raj post about Gab on his Facebook page even before you officially became together. So what was on your mind when you got into a relationship with Raj? Were you thinking na, okay, what if mapakasalan ko siya? Like, I'm gonna be an instant mom, diba? What was it? A positive thought, or was it something that scared you? What was going on in your mind? Tell us about it.
Truthfully, when I saw Gab on Facebook, I remember there's this hashtag that Ronchi uses before. It's called hashtag me Mondays, because apparently Mondays were his day off.
Yeah.
And then he would post photos of them going to the mall, the nearby supermarket that we live, the nearby supermarket. They would go to the spa, they would go to the grocery. And then there would be photos of him in a little boy.
Yeah.
Parang I did not delve in too much thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
I just back then, okay, he has a son.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. And then when we started to express to each other that we like each other, being a carefree woman that I was just thinking, hey, this is love.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna get into a relationship. I'm gonna get into a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. And during the time, when I said yes to Ronchi, I was single for quite some time. So I was single for quite some time, and then I was into working, earning money, spending time with my family, and getting into a relationship did not account yet. Truthfully saying na parang hindi ko naisip na, uy, there's another character in this story.
Right.
I did not. Okay, so, and then I was all happy, all rainbows, all flowers.
Yeah.
And then one day, it was an afternoon. It was his day off. I was coming from a seminar, and I decided, hey, out of the blue, what if I invite him and Gab for an afternoon snack?
Okay.
So on my way to their house, sabi ko, okay, so let's go to McDonald's, let's have a snack, right? And then when I saw the real human in front of me, I was terrified. I was terrified. Because the feeling of seeing someone on a photo is totally different.
Exactly.
When there's a real human in front of you.
Yeah.
And then I remember I got inside McDonald's first. And then they were walking towards McDonald's, and I could see them crossing the street. And then my boyfriend looked differently. Parang he looks, sabi ko, how come the stance, the way he protects Gab, during that time that they were crossing the street, he was not my boyfriend. He was a father during that time. And then when he approached the table, I was about to kiss him. Diba? Yung mga nakikinig sa atin na when you're into a relationship, you're very much, before the pandemic, so mga batang nakikinig sa atin, before when all of us were into touchy-feely moments.
Exactly.
When you're with someone you're in a relationship with, the first thing that you would want to do is to hold hands.
Exactly.
I motioned. I
Mm-hmm.
motioned to kiss him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gently said no.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Pero hindi harsh. It's just that
Right, right.
I was surprised that
Yeah,
the dynamics did change because there's a character that's
right.
part of this relationship. And then when he did that, when he did that, I'm trying to put into words what did I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that wait, this is different
Yeah.
as compared to the other relationships that I was part of, that I became part of, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then during that merienda time, I was terrified because there's a kid in front of me, human,
Yeah.
flesh and bones. Sabi ko sa isip ko, oh my God, tao siya. Is it, I'm not
Parang
so sure
eto na yun.
if
In
it's coming,
reality, meron
ito
talaga.
yun.
Yeah.
Ito yung reality. And then, we ate. I cannot
Mm-hmm.
remember exactly what conversation that we had, but there
Mm-hmm.
was a time wherein he said, "Dadster, can I wash my hands?"
Yeah.
And then I'm very motherly to my nieces. Very
Right.
shout out to my nieces Abby and Betchay. So way back before getting into to marriage and with Ronchi and Gab, right, with their family. My nieces are my babies.
Mm-hmm.
So for some reason when he said that and he cannot touch the floor yet with his feet. So
Right.
ganun kaliit pa si Gab noon, 7
Yeah.
years old. My instinct way back was to go towards him, to help him, parang go down the chair and then go to the wash area. And then Ron, she said no, allow him.
Okay.
Then it provided a glimpse once more.
Yeah.
Wait, this is not my boyfriend. It's a different person altogether.
Right.
And so I watched him walk towards the faucet and then went back.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said that he has to go back. He has to bring our son Gab back because he needs to study. Okay. And then during that time, I just said, bye-bye. Nice meeting you. I was all bright and shiny as much as I can. So not
Yeah.
to show how nervous I was
Right.
and how terrified I was. And it's not terrified in a bad way. It's
Yeah.
more of escalating to the situation, to the feeling that I'm about to panic.
Yeah.
That
I get
wait,
that. Yeah.
wait. And then, so, hinatid na pabalik. And I stayed in McDonald's and he told me to wait.
Mm-hmm.
Another bad influence that I did, I started smoking nonstop because
Yeah.
I was so
Stress na.
stressed.
Yeah.
I was stressed. Sabi ko sa sarili ko, wait, I cannot mess up here.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing, that when they were walking, they were about to cross the street and then I was left alone in McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed outside and started smoking. And then the thing in my mind kept on saying, wait, I cannot mess up here.
Yeah.
We cannot mess up here. Because there's a child that's part
Exactly.
of this relationship. And it's a very different situation as compared to the other relationships that I was part of,
Yeah.
right? And I became so stressed to the degree that when he got back, I asked him, can I do this?
Mm.
I cannot. Parang feeling ko, wait,
Ayaw mo na.
it's not about ayaw ko na. It's more of,
Kaya
I'm
mo.
doubting myself
Okay.
kung kaya ko ba to.
Yeah.
Hindi naman sumagi sa isip ko, babe, na ayoko eh. Yung feeling ko na parang there's an acknowledgement that this is the real deal.
Right.
And dahil mahal ko si Ronchi Galvez, this is the real deal. This is the passageway that I have to go through. And I cannot mess up with it. Because if I mess up, there's a child that would be impacted.
Exactly.
Then I asked him, sabi ko, do you think I can do this? Right? I cannot remember what he said, but what he made me feel was,
Mhm.
we need to be in partners in easing myself into the situation.
That's nice. Yeah.
Diba in our lives, yeah, in our lives, when we get into certain situations, there are times wherein you cannot remember conversations, the exact things that were
True.
said, that were done. But I perfectly remember the feeling that it's okay,
Mm-hmm.
the feeling that we can do this,
Exactly.
and the feeling that I hope, parang I remember way back when she was trying to tell me that this is it, this is what it is. It's him and myself.
Yeah.
And in order for a woman to come into to Gab's life, we need to ease in slowly but surely.
I couldn't
So
agree
let's
more.
ease
Yeah.
in. So let's ease in slowly but surely. And on my own, right? I was thinking 7 years old. 7 years old, sabi ko. Formative years yun.
Exactly.
Formative years yun, sabi ko. Okay, so whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
let's do this. But
Yeah.
that can do attitude took time and
Mm-hmm.
took actions
I'm
and
sure.
deliberate actions for us for both parties to be eased up. It's not just for him,
Right.
but also for myself as the incoming woman in his life. There,
Exactly.
babe.
All right. Now, let's fast forward naman to when you guys were getting married. So obviously, you have the chance already to be close to Gab, being boyfriend and girlfriend for a few years bago kayo ikasal. No, sasabihin mo na sa family mo na you were marrying someone who has a child already. I want to understand like how you broke that news or kung para to ensure na hindi naman sila mag-react siguro negatively kasi ba ibang family ganun parang you're young, why would you marry someone na meron ng anak, diba? How did you tell them about that?
Okay, it was tough for Ronchi, to be honest with you,
I'm sure, yeah.
and and to also glorify my husband and to praise him. It was not an easy easing in for him.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, it's for him, it's important that myself and Gab get to ease in with each other, right?
Right.
Slowly but surely, right? But for him being the man, we're in, um, I grew up in a traditional family, babe.
Mm-hmm.
We're in, my parents would interview suitors, would
Yeah.
interview boyfriends, and apart from my mama ko at saka si tatay ko, my sister, our eldest sister, si Ate Weng, right?
Yeah.
prior to moving back prior to moving back to the workforce in 2013, when Ronche and I saw each other,
Mm-hmm.
I was very sick. I was very sick, and during that sickness, to the degree of not being able to walk for five
Right.
months, my sister, si Ate Winnie, took it upon herself to really take good care of me, right? And then here goes a man. Here
Mm-hmm.
goes a man who would like to take care of me.
Yeah.
And that man does not does not hold the mold of what they were thinking about.
Yeah.
Okay. And no offense to my mama ko, tatay kong nasa langit at sa kapatid ko na maaaring nanonood sa ngayon. Na during that time, they were very much protective of me.
Mm-hmm.
That
I'm
they would
sure,
want to
yeah.
make sure that whoever that I would be saying yes to in marriage and in life would really take good care of me.
Yes.
And having that depiction of a son,
Mm-hmm.
not generally towards Gab,
Mm-hmm.
but the whole picture of all of it. Could my husband could Ronchi take care of Siena? Yun yung question eh. Parang there's a son and then there's sickness for Siena. How could we make sure then that Ronchi would be able to put all of these together, right? Noting that I'm a hot mess for everyone's understanding, but anything towards Gab, nothing. I like it how my tatay. I remember way back when he was still alive. I brought Gab. I brought Gab to show him to my tatay.
Yeah.
And yung tatay ko, naglight up yung face niya.
Oh.
Yes. And he was in his sick bed during that time. My father passed away 2014, September 2014. So, Ronchi and I became a couple June 2014. So, within that period of June to September, I was holding on to the belief and to the faith that my father would be here for the long haul.
Right.
But God has his ways of manifesting his plans, right?
Yeah.
So I brought Gab, and then there's this light on his face. Yeah, there were a lot of hesitations, and there's this comedy item that happened that my mom, kasi nga, diba, traditional day. And then when I told my mom na Ron, she already has a son, ganyan. Ang sagot ng mama ko, nasa ng asawa nun. As in, ganun ka-blunt.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And, nasa ng asawa nun. And my mom did not hesitate to ask that question straight to Ronchi. When you saw him, parang one of the times we're in Ronchi, he visited to pick me up. And then, nasan na asawa mo?
Yeah.
Kasing ganun. And then Ronchi politely answered, wala po akong asawa. Wala po akong asawa. Just to clear out that there's nothing to be worried about, right?
Right.
And then fast forward to the time wherein we were planning for our wedding, ganyan. Di ba kailangan ko muna ng Senomar?
Yeah.
Senomar, yung certificate of no marriage. And we still have our business back then, yung t-shirt printing. Ito na yung Senomar. Pagawan ko to ng t-shirt kasi susuot daw niya. Pag nakita daw niya yung mama ko. Para daw sasabihan na, uy, wala po akong asawa. May anak po ako, pero wala po asawa. Yeah, but right now, I would say then that we are in a good relationship naman. We are in a good standing in terms of how we are together. Bygones be bygones. But with regard to Gab, everyone was being shout out to my nieces, most especially Bettina, na parang, uy, for my cousin, rather for my niece, to see another young man, right, to be his cousin, is something that I'm really happy that she welcomed. Na, uy, there's a younger one, hindi na akong bunso, there's Gab, and the two of them do have a bond up to this time.
That's great to hear.
Sharing video games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good siya.
All right. Now, let's go further into that stepmom, stepson relationship. So I know it took a while, diba? Like, you had to ease into it very smoothly and talagang, taking your time, not to rush things. Para din syempre, makapag-adjust fully si Gab. How did you do that? I'm curious to find out, and I'm sure maybe other parents out there or other people could be a stepdad or a stepmom. They're also trying to still fix that relationship with their stepchild. So how did you do that? Because you guys, for the sake of those who don't know you guys, for those who don't know you guys, they really have an awesome relationship. Gab, my nephew, calls Siena Mama, diba? He calls you Mama. So talagang, alam mo yun, para sa kanya, ikaw talaga yung mom niya. Kaya nga, diba, I remember, I think it was your first Mother's Day na as married couple na kayo ni Raj, na I remember I messaged you because I saw how happy my nephew was, 'di ba? Na parang alam ko na alagaan talaga siya. So, how did you do that? How did you build that awesome relationship that you guys have right now?
So easing in would mean that I shouldn't be forced into the picture. So
Yeah.
that's the first thing that should happen. And now that Gab's 15, shout out sa anak ko. When I asked him recently about what he was thinking about when I was in the picture, he said that he thought that I was just a friend.
Okay.
So that innocent mind of his way back was thinking na, uy, may barkada yung tatay ko
Yeah.
at nandito siya. Yun yung sabi ko. And I asked him, sabi ko, okay, when did you realize that I'm here for the long haul?
Yeah.
Right? He realized when I keep on coming back. Sabi niya, bigla daw sa isip niya. As a young age of 7 to 8 nun. Oh, she's here again.
Ayos mag-isip si Gab.
Barkada lang siya ng tatay ko.
Yeah.
Barkada siya ng tatay ko. And she's just here. She's staying and spending time with us. Eating, having ice cream, right? And then she's back. And then, back then, when he was about to, start writing. Actually, not start. They were. I was able to ease in further through the writing subject, so the penmanship subject.
Yeah.
Okay, so alam naman natin yun, di ba? Na madalas na maganda ang sulat ay babae.
True.
So, and sa subject na penmanship, I took that as an opportunity to teach him. So, when they were both struggling, pasensya na sa mag-ama ko, aminin na natin, penmanship talaga yung naging daan. At si potato corner.
So madalas din pala kayo nagpa-potato corner.
Oo. So, nahihirapan silang magturuan ng pagsulat. Hirapan. As in, my husband would teach how to write, and then Gab would be fighting back. And then I've decided to offer help because I'm a learning professional for those who are listening in. So I realized that, okay, the first thing that I could do to build the trust is if I could teach him something.
Yeah.
And that's where penmanship did come handy. So I bought a big notebook, and then I bought stamps. And it's unfamiliar territory, di ba? Parang iniisip mo parang, okay, paano to? Kung naging patok ako sa mga pamangkin ko sa pagtuturo, tingnan natin. Right, tingnan natin.
Yeah.
So, I bought this notebook, and then I bought stamps. And then, I remembered way back kung paano ko tinuruan ng mama ko kung paano magsulat.
Galing,
Na,
I remember
sa isang
mo
malaking papel, yellow paper pa na tayo noon, di ba?
Yeah.
Naalala mo na ba, di ba tayo yellow pad?
Oo.
Ako inisip ko, isang malaking notebook, tapos susulatan ko yung first column, tapos gagayahin niya.
Yeah.
Tapos every time na matapos niya, lalagyan ng stamp, very good, ganyan. Doon kami nag-start na letter by letter, number by number, from uppercase to lowercase to cursive, printed to cursive.
Wow.
And then when we were processing it recently, sabi ko sa kanya, what was the thing running in your mind back then? Sabi niya, hey, I could learn from her. And she doesn't get irritated.
Yeah.
We do not have a clash. Parang wala kaming clash. And that's where it started. Na I was able to build a relationship by finding out what help he needed during that time. And then I dug back in terms of my experiences with my parents. in terms of how they were able to teach me how to write, and along with my other siblings. And that was our starting point. So,
Awesome.
maraming salamat sa penmanship
Gusto ko tuloy
dahil
makita
dun
nga yung
nagsimula.
penmanship ni Gab. Kung katulad ba ng sayo.
Yung
Anyway.
kailangan ng consistency, no? Right?
Yeah.
But that's where we started. And then the reward would be snacks, for example, and that would be potato corner snacks. So
Favorite.
that's how we started.
Yeah.
And another thing that that plays a big role in this relationship building, if I may say, is the consistency. Kasi nga, diba, when I remembered with the starting point, hey, I cannot mess up. Hey,
Right.
I cannot, right? When I say consistency, I have to be there every day. So
Yeah.
every study time, I have to be there every single day. And when he needs help with penmanship, every single day. And it doesn't mean na yung every single day for a child, yung consistency of every single day would also mean time.
Yes.
And this is where I really honor my husband, because he has this athlete upbringing and mentality. So my husband plays basketball very well. In his younger years, he's an athlete. And now he's still into sports with his current job. But the mentality and the habit forming, he was able to put it onto Gab in all aspects. Waking up, drinking
Yung discipline
medicine,
talaga.
yung discipline.
Yeah.
And back then, for me, I don't have such parang, for me, I'm a woman of flexibility. Because wherever I was placed back then, I move. But
Right.
here I was placed back then wherein, hey, someone needs me. Someone needs me, and this is the only way that I think during that time that could be a starting point for our relationship building. So that means that I have to be consistently there every single day.
Yeah.
So that we'll be positioning each other, that there's a study table, and then we're gonna write. And he liked that. We made it fun, and we also look forward into seeing each other. Whatever
Yeah.
snack that I would bring, be it potato corner or a small biscuit or a donut, and then it gave ice cream. That's where we started. So to those who are listening to us, let's not try, parang the one that worked for us, I believe so, is thinking about the child. Thinking
That's
about the
right.
child in terms of what does he need during this period wherein you could contribute. And
Yeah.
then do not, parang I was so amazed in terms of how patient I was during that time. But it's more of, I'm amazed that I'm seeing a little kid learn how to write.
Yeah.
Yun yung parang feeling ko, parang wow, I'm a learning professional, and then now I understand.
Right.
And right now that I have this journey to share with you, Bay, and the rest, I've decided to become a woman after God's own heart, and that became very real on my 40th birthday. I started that journey in 2017, 2018. A big step of coming into a community alongside with my husband and my son in 2019. And now 2021, I fully surrendered. And now, thinking back in this conversation that we're having, now I understand why I was placed in a learning and development profession. Why I was placed into difficult situations way back. Sabi ko noon, bakit ba ang hirap-hirap ng trabaho ko noon? Naging alipin sa gigilid ako.
Yeah.
In terms of learning and development groups and departments that I used to handle in the past. By the way, shout out sa akin mga dating boss. I'm just stating that all of the key learnings before now translating to the truth that I'm in right now. That the truth is, all of those were instruments
Exactly.
to make me ready to the most important student of my life. Si
Very
Gabriel
well said.
Galvez
Yeah,
yun.
exactly.
Yun sabi.
Talagang ano nga eh, parang diba yung sabi ko sa'yo kanina, like kayo ni Raj, parang meant to be because, you guys work and met each other in your first job and then eventually separate ways and then nakita kayo ulit. And then you're right, kaya ka siguro ginawa learning professional para talaga maturuan mo rin si Gab, and that's what brought you closer. Now, I guess the final question that I have for you, Sienna, because you mentioned earlier that consistency was very important in making you guys close. I know that you guys still have that up to this day, that you have that your constant dates with each other. I mean, of course it's probably different now because we're in the pandemic, but prior to the pandemic you had that regular dates, right? And I think just from a person looking from outside, no, I think that's what also brought you guys and brought you guys closer and kept that relationship. Am I right, or what do you think that really played a part also?
For me right now, um, I just feel fortunate that I met Gab at the age of 7. And counting the blessings as we move forward to today,
Mm-hmm.
I'm really glad my husband chose me. Kasi if my husband did not choose me, right, I won't be in this situation.
Right.
Kasi parang during the time wherein he mentioned that if, for instance, it would not work
Mm-hmm.
for Gab and myself, he totally told me that if there would come a time wherein he needed to choose, he would choose Gab.
Of
And that was
course,
a very
yeah.
hurting statement, Bay.
Yeah.
Right? Na parang kung ano hindi
Mhm.
mag-work, he would choose Gab. And during that immature time of my life, na parang, ganun na.
Yeah.
Yung ganun yung thinking mo, na parang it was so easy to say that I'm not cut for this. It was just so easy to say that I'm not cut for this. But apart from knowing Gab at the early age of 7, which is very formative,
Mhm.
the other blessing really, the first and foremost one I would say then is that Ronshi also did not give up on me.
Right.
Kasi kung halimbawa I was not able to do what's being expected in this situation, he could just simply say that he'll move on and just
Exactly.
have his life for himself and for Gab.
Mhm.
But when he welcomed that no, it's gonna be us three, and when he started to really share with me the parenting responsibility,
Mhm.
right? I would say then, na, hey, all glory and praises go to him because he's half of Gab, right?
Right.
And the other blessing that I'm counting on at the moment, I would say then, is right now I'm in a very good place with Gab's biological mom. So
Yeah.
shout out to Audrey. And if she was not welcoming still, right? Or if I would say that she's not welcoming though in terms of this setup day,
Mhm.
it would be difficult. It would
Of
be
course,
difficult.
yeah.
Kasi parang come to think of it, they are the same with my parents and my sister and my siblings generally way back when they were protective. Of
Mhm.
course, Audrey as well was protective of having another woman
Yeah.
in Gab's life.
Mhm.
And during the time that I was easing in, right, there's
Mhm.
also a challenge on her end that
Right.
I'm recognizing now, wait, who are you? And how would you contribute and what would you do? Right?
Exactly.
Are you here for the long haul? Or are you here just for the heck of it? Are
Right.
you here na kapag mahirapan ka na, aalis ka na? Right? From the time of 2014 now to the present, I would say then that all those three things are magnificent blessings that would really that places the stamp that we
Mhm.
are in a way better situation. That and all of this is deep rooted from the fact that it's all about Gab.
True.
It's not about it's not about pride. It's not about ego. It's not
Mhm.
about how much time you could give, how much time the other could give. It's not about who could give what. It's more
Exactly.
of having a holistic decision amongst us co-parents that it's all for Gab's welfare.
Right.
Kasi parang parang in other people's perspective, diba? And sorry for this, diba? In certain teleseries or certain movies,
Yeah.
I, and I have to also admit that when I was easing in here, naalala ko si Sharon Cuneta. Dun sa pelikulang
Madrasta.
Madrasta.
Yeah.
Oo, Madrasta. Right? Madrasta. And during the time, I had this very painful conversation with my mother before I said my I do. Shoutout sa nanay ko, kay Aling Nene ng Santa Mesa. Um, she mentioned that the situation that I'm in, or the one that I'm gonna be saying I do with, is equivalent to so many things.
Mm-hmm.
So, and saying I do would mean that I would become an instant mother.
Yeah.
And ang instant mother na ito ay hindi biological na nanay ng bata. At ang lugar ng biological na nanay ay dapat nauuna bilang pagrespeto sa pagbigay ng buhay sa bata.
Mm-hmm.
So there were painful conversations such as, what if the graduation ni Gab?
Yeah.
Where will you sit? Kapag nag-wedding ang bata, nasaan ka? Kapag halimbawa, usapan ng dalawang upuan lang ang narito. Because the society at the moment would only say that you only have one father and one mother. We're in, I'm part now of that situation. You, Bailey, right? Personally, the two of us were part of that crowd or that group now. That no, we are the disruptors that would say that the standard family framework is not always one parent, or rather one mother and one father.
Right.
So, sabi ng nanay ko, it's gonna be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna be judged.
Yeah.
People would not like you. And all you need to do is be quiet and be on the backstage. Right? And I was crying. Alala ko, iyak ako ng iyak. Pero nang na-realize ko, na natututo ang batang magsulat, na-realize ko na, I'm not so sure if you guys know this, yung the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. For if it's multiplied 6 times 6.
I've heard about it, but I'm not familiar with it. Yeah.
So there's this finger math and all other things that I taught him about. And I realized that he's learning and he's thriving life because of that.
Yes.
And this whole environment became healthy because all parties are agreeing with it, all for the love of Gab.
Right.
So it's more of shedding of ego, as I've said, shedding of comparison of whatever contributions or time, and also always thinking, is this for the betterment of the kid?
Exactly.
Kaya babalik ako dun sa portion na natakot ako noon nung nasa McDonald's ako.
Yeah.
Naninigarilyo. Because that for me now is a breakthrough of a recognition na when I said to myself, I cannot mess up.
Mm-hmm.
It means then that day in, day out, regardless if I've given life Gab through my womb, but more so giving life to him through my heart, through my service, through my quality time.
Yeah.
And it's not an easy route. And for all stepmothers out there, just like myself and also for Bay, right? There's walang samang idinudulot ang pagmamahal. So,
exactly. lahat
ng kung sino ka pa. Kung sino ka pa. Example, if you are a fur mom, mga aso, pusa.
Mm-hmm.
If you are someone who adopted a child, if you are someone that would go to work every day and would always feel and treat your co-workers as your sons and your daughters, For example, if you are a frontliner, just like the ones that we have right now, wherein every patient or every person that you deal with still being treated as a son and a daughter, right? All of us are mothers. All
Yes.
of us are parents. It's not through blood that would really dictate, because if it's through blood, what kind of world do we have now? Na parang so so I would say then day na parang as we move forward in this journey, it's gonna be tough roads ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And my goodness, the teenage years is a
Yeah, good luck
different
to you.
story altogether. Because
Yeah.
yung formative na 7 years old up to 11, 12, it was all fun and games.
Mm-hmm.
Playtime, barkada mode, nanay mode, and all. Pero one thing that came into the picture in these teenage years, babe, is the hormonal changes. Na parang, uy, nakikita ko ang sarili ko Nung 15 ako parang siya. Ganun pala yun. And it's an ongoing journey of learning and learning, right? And not giving up,
Yeah.
because parenthood is it's a 24/7 job.
It
And
is.
I'm just blessed that I'm given a son that's so brilliant, so handsome, and so open, that I'm not just being labeled as a mama, but a mama that's from his heart. And he knows this, that I hold his heart in my heart forever,
Mm.
and that no matter what happens, whatever happens in this lifetime, I will never grow too tired to teach him how to survive life.
That's
So
awesome.
if you meet my son, and then you ask him the question, ano yung purpose ng mama ko sa buhay? Sasagot niya sa'yo, turuan niya po ako to survive life. Because that, I think, is my best contribution that I could give him as I'm becoming an instrument of God in his life. That's it, babe.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Sienna. Gab is really blessed to have you in his life. And like what you said, it's not just about blood, and it's just really about, the love that we have. Of course, not just for Gab, but for everyone, right? So, very blessed talaga siya. And of course, si Ronj is also blessed to have you in their lives. Pero, not all step-parent, step-child relationship is as blessed or as awesome as what you have. But I'm sure that a lot of our listeners and viewers out there would be truly inspired by how you built that relationship and that trust with Gab, and with how your relationship is doing right now. So thank you so much for sharing your very personal story with us and with
Thank
our
you.
listeners. Thank you. You stay safe, Sienna.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. And thank you for giving me an opportunity to share my heart. Thank you.
Thank you. There you go. As Sienna said, it takes consistency and quality time, and, just taking things easy to smooth into, or to ease into rather, the relationship with a stepchild. So I hope you guys got inspired by the story of Sienna and Gab. Let me know what you think of this episode. Comment on our official Facebook or Instagram pages on A Shot of Bailey's. And like what I always say, folks, life is short. So go ahead and get drunk on life and take a shot of Bailey's. Hey, do you want to start your own podcast too? Check out Anchor FM. You can create your own podcast from your phone or desktop, and you don't have to worry about distributing your podcast, because they will take care of that for you. Our podcast is an Anchor FM server, and they're the ones distributing it to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, etc., all for free. So what are you waiting for? Download the app now or visit anchor.fm. The beats that you're hearing in the background is courtesy of DJ Ray Dava. Go ahead and check him out on Facebook and Instagram.